Good Wednesday afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network. I'm Rob Adams. Normally on Wednesdays, Dave Stewart would be right alongside of me at the opposite countertop, but not today. He's going to be on the phone with us, and that's probably the way we'll do the majority of the shows, at least during the spring, as we kind of improvise our way through a heavy broadcast schedule as well. So let's bring Dave on to the show right now. Dave, how are you?
All right, Rob. I'm doing my impression of the Invisible Man here, so it's a good time.
And you do it so well. We'll open the show by talking about girls lacrosse yesterday. We were out there and we saw how good New Canaan was, taking care of really an underwhelming John Jay New York team, simply because they lost so much to graduation, 9 seniors, 8 of them starters. So that's a tough thing for John Jay, but for New Canaan, it was, not a great game, but they were able to improve to 2-0.
Yeah, and that's kind of what Kristen Woods was saying afterwards, that there were things she was not happy with at all. They did have some miscommunications out there, and they threw the ball around a little bit. Like at the beginning, I thought they were dominating, and then you look up at the clock, or you look up the scoreboard, and they're only up by 3-2 with like 10 minutes left in the first half. But they have so much. They graduated a lot, New Canaan did, but there's so much in terms of offensive firepower with people like Sammy Stewart and Catherine Granito, and then you had Carly Bucci scoring a hat trick yesterday, and Kylie Murphy. They just have so much offensive power there. They can kind of overwhelm people that way. So I think that'll carry them for a while. Against the better teams, they're going to need to tighten it up a little bit. But for now, they can get by with the offensive scoring.
So let us take a look at highlights from yesterday's game. We were at Dunning Stadium, and we're still having a debate. Dunning Stadium, Dunning Field, the Dunning Dome, the facility formerly known as Dunning. Call it what you want. We were in New Canaan yesterday for a good performance for the New Canaan Rams. We'll check this out. It's brisk today at Dunning Field in New Canaan, and it's high school girls lacrosse on the HAN Network. Set up right out in front in top shelf. It's a 2-1 game. Resulting in a turnover. And right on net, in goes Kylie Murphy to make it a 4-2 game. Working right along those hash marks. A few yards out in front, and a pretty play to Kylie Murphy for her third. Harmlessly bounces, then goes off the crossbar, and the buzzer sounds. And this one is in the books with the final score, the New Canaan Rams 13 and the John Jay Indians 4. All right, so there you have it. Good performance overall. I mean, they got the win. That's what you need to know. But when you look underneath, as you said, not the best performance for the Rams.
Yeah, and I'm sure both teams, John Jay and New Canaan, are going to get better as they go along. There's been a few times where New Canaan kind of had to adjust or, like they say, rebuild, although I feel like programs like New Canaan and Greenwich and Wilton and Darien don't really, as they say, they don't reload. They don't rebuild, they reload. But, New Canaan's had that a few times where they've had to build up through the season, and by the second half, they're fine, and everything's in place. So I feel that'll happen for both of those two teams last night, because, as you said, John Jay's also, and I think they graduated over 90% of their offense from last year, so they've got to find something to work with there. Yeah,
John Jay is actually not a bad program. They're just really kind of pulling it back together right now with the losses to graduation, but they were up there with the Yorktowns of Section 1 last year, so we'll expect better things from the Indians. Just kind of a rough time right now as they rebuild just a little bit. In any event, we'll get to boys lacrosse in a short while. We've got some interviews that we will run for you, including with New Canaan boys lacrosse, and we have boys lacrosse later today at 4:30 as they take on Fairfield Prep, the Jesuits, back at the facility known as Dunning. But I want to switch gears, Dave, and go one town down to Darien, where the lights debate is continuing to, pardon the pun, heat up a little bit, because we started with it with a conversation yesterday, and there's just no question that there are shady politics at play here in my mind as I've kind of followed this story. Selectman Rob Richards has been going around and getting signatures from people who have been, heavily against lights being put at Darien High School, and there's no doubt about it. I mean, he goes and gets included in that group of neighbors is is Paul Machowski, who has filed lawsuits over field use and related planning and zoning decisions, and I'm reading from Susan Schultz's story on DarienTimes.com. But he got, or I should say Susan got quotes from Jamie Stevenson, the first selectman, who said, and I'll read part of the quote, "I was very surprised to receive during last evening's Board of Selectmen's meeting this very carefully documented set of requested guidelines for use of lights at DHS negotiated by Rob and selected neighbors. In the bigger picture, I'm pleased to see an acknowledgement that the neighbors are willing to work with the town to move this long-desired project forward." And it goes on from there, and you can read more at DarienTimes.com. Planning and Zoning Commissioner John Cini also had thoughts, saying, quote, "While addressing amendments to zoning regulations and/or specific property uses, state statute requires that the Planning and Zoning Commission hears public input from any interested constituent." And again, there's more online at DarienTimes.com. Dave, 10 games a year. I understand if you want to only play varsity games at Darien High School under the lights. I get that. But 10 games a year, I don't see where that's realistic. I see where it creates Title IX problems. Regardless of Title IX, I just don't see where you're going to put enough games on that field. You've got to get the girls' games out there, but you've also got to get boys' soccer. You've got to get field hockey. There are so many things you got to get under the lights to be fair to everyone. I don't see where 10 games is enough. As we've lost Dave's thoughts on this matter. So I'll stay with it to see if we can get Dave hooked up once again.
Sorry about that.
There he is, okay.
I think I lost you for a second.
That's okay. Your thoughts on the lights at Darien?
Yeah, I think that's what you were saying is what happens at other schools too, where they get this turf, is that there are so many uses for it that I don't see how you can narrow it down to 10 varsity games. You're going to have football, and I guess they're going to do, if they do 5 games there, who gets the other 5? And in most towns, they try to get boys and girls lacrosse, boys and girls softball out there. Field hockey can be out there under the lights for a few games, and everybody gets their time in the sun or under the lights in this case. But you also have youth leagues that want to use the games and use the field, and it's just there's so many uses for it. I don't see how you can limit it in such an extreme manner to just 10 games a year.
And it's very disjointed by the Board of Selectmen to have one rogue selectman going off and doing this with neighbors around Darien High School. And if I was Jamie Stevenson, I would have concerns over that. So to me, it's a multifaceted story that obviously is one of those stories that toes the line between what we do in sports and news. And, I can see our friends at CT Pulse taking this story as well. That's what I'm saying, is how many different ways this story can be taken, Dave.
There's a lot of different levels to this, and there's a lot of different people who've been involved with it over the years trying to get flights into Darien. I think it is a shame from an athletic standpoint. I know a lot of the people over at Darien High School, and I think it's a shame that they can't play under the lights, and that a team like Darien football, which obviously is one of the premier teams in the state right now, can't play a state tournament game at home under the lights because of the restrictions. So, you wonder how that plays. Also, that would play into like the 10 games. Are they going to pre-schedule everything? So if you get to a point where a state tournament game gets to be played, you not get to have that at night because that's an 11th game, so to speak. So you got to kind of figure that stuff out, too.
It is a story that we're going to continue to follow. We're going to continue to watch it evolve. Again, we have an invitation out to Jamie Stevenson. I could see her joining us in the future. P&Z Commissioner John Cini has been on the show. I could see him coming back on as well. If folks that are against the lights want to come on and debate this issue as well, they're welcome to talk to us and come on. So we'll take this from as many angles as we can. We will follow it here on Nutmeg Sports. Before we go to break, Dave, we can go to the major leagues for a moment, which we don't get to do a whole lot of around these parts, but good news if you love New Canaan sports. Kirk Casale, still a member of the Tampa Bay Rays.
Yeah, it was great. He was in a basically a three-way battle for two catching spots on the Tampa Bay Rays, and it was Rene Rivera, Rene Rivera and Hank Conger were the two other guys, and Rene Rivera actually hit better than the other two guys in that battle, but he was cut last week. And so it kind of opened up the door. That kind of left it open for Kurt, who really, given the second half he had last year, where he hit 9 home runs and 71 at-bats after the All-Star break. And I believe at the time when he got hurt, he was leading all American League catchers in home runs. So, after the All-Star break. And so that's a big plus for him. He's just a nice, down-to-earth guy and really, a solid hitter. He's splitting time right now with Hank Conger. I'm hoping that he's able to do the same thing he did last year, or at least continue some hitting. Doing some hitting and maybe take over that job full time. But just to be there and to be able to hold onto a job at the major league level and keep playing and keep showing his stuff. He's got his opportunity, and that's half the battle for a lot of these baseball players. Some guys never get an opportunity, and he's had plenty now. So that's really cool for him.
Great stuff, Dave. Stick around. We're going to take a break. Of course, so long as Kirk Casale doesn't hurt either the Yankees or Eric Gendron's Red Sox, I guess we're okay. We're out for a break here on Nutmeg Sports. We'll continue right after this on the HAN Network.
Had a sports injury or a slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care gives you direct access to an orthopedic specialist fast without an appointment. Biking, golf, tennis, soccer, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Ortho Express can help. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care open Monday through Saturday in the iPark building at 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk, or go to coastalorthoexpress.com. That's coastalorthoexpress.com. Like them on Facebook.
Alberto Londano Professional Painting, Wallpapering, and Carpentry has been serving Fairfield County for over 20 years. Based in Norwalk, Alberto takes pride in his work by offering you only the best quality service and products. Call Alberto today to get a free estimate and be one step closer to a new and exciting home makeover. 203-866-9635.
At the Sylvan Learning Center of Darien, experienced teachers and personalized academic support equals superior results. Our certified teachers uncover skill gaps, address specific needs, and help students realize greater academic success and increased confidence. We're enrolling now. Individualized after-school tutoring in reading, math, history, elementary math, algebra, geometry, calculus, high school science, and study skills. For a free consultation, call 203-655-3276 or email gmcsylvan@gmail.com.
Join the HAN Network and Make-A-Wish Connecticut to help make travel wishes come true for local kids with life-threatening medical conditions. Donate your unused airline miles to the HAN Network Wishes in Flight campaign. Over 70% of wishes granted involve travel, and your unused airline miles can help make kids' dreams become a reality. Plus, once you donate your miles to Make-A-Wish, they will never expire. Donate your unused miles and help the HAN Network share the power of a wish.
I'm Kate Chaplinsky. Join us for Coffee Break, weekdays at 11 to get the latest Connecticut news, weather, high school sports, and more. News doesn't get any more local than on Coffee Break on the HAN Network.
Welcome back to Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network. Rob Adams, Dave Stewart on the phone with us. Dave, we've got boys lacrosse in just a couple of hours here on the HAN Network. The New Canaan Rams, once again, as we're back at Dunning, as they take on Fairfield Prep. No question, this is a good matchup today.
Yeah, oh, definitely. These are two premier powers in the state. So this should be an awesome one. You got Fairfield Prep from the SEC. Always the top team in the SEC and or one of the top contenders anyway, and a top contender in the state. And of course, New Canaan, which has a real solid team this year, should be a contender in the FCAC, and looking to build off a state tournament last year. And they just beat Loyola. They went down to Maryland and beat Loyola Blakefield, which was the number 5 team, ranked team in the country. They beat them on Saturday, so. Quite a road trip for New Canaan, and to win a game like that is just to start your season. That's a great launching point.
It's really a great job by the Rams, and they were very confident when we talked to them on the FCAC tour that they're not only going to make noise. They didn't come right out and say they'll beat the Dariens, or they didn't make guarantees, but they were very confident that they could have a big year.
Well, they have a lot of veterans, a lot of strong athletes. A lot of them are multi-sport athletes, and they've won in other places. A lot of them with the football team. you have one of the best midfield lines I've ever seen at New Canaan High School, and Chip Buzzio, who a former player there, also said that might be one of their best midfield lines, if not their best midfield line ever, with junior Ryan O'Connell and seniors Kyle Smith and Peter Swindell, who are both captains and guys we've heard their name before plenty of times. All three are football players, and all three can score. All three can do just about anything. And Ryan O'Connell is just a phenomenal lacrosse player, and he's taking face-offs for them too. And he had a big game the other day. I believe he had a hat trick and an assist. And then they have Jack Holzer, who's another junior, who's a midfielder who scored the game-winning goal in overtime against Loyola the other day. So they have a lot going for them. You have David Strupp on defense. You have you have an all-state goalie in Drew Morris. They just have a lot from top to bottom. And there's guys behind the starters who could probably be starting for most other teams. So they're deep, they're good, and they have high hopes this year. And they seem to be very focused too. I talked to them at practice yesterday, and the theme seemed to be, it's great that we beat Loyola Blakefield, which is a huge win, but they're not focused on that. They're looking forward, so they're looking forward to their next game. And they said that's actually the toughest thing about playing two games like that, is that now you only have 2 days, Monday and Tuesday, to prepare for a team like Fairfield Prep. So I think they'll be ready to play, and they're hoping to keep the momentum they picked up on Saturday going.
Should make for a great matchup. Again, that's 4:30 later today here on the HAN Network. How about the state of boys lacrosse as we get ready for this game? And really, we're only just a few days into the season. What are your thoughts as you look at the FCAC and I guess at the state as well?
Yeah, it's hard to tell this early in the season. Like, you see some teams starting out, and you never know how it's going to progress from here to there, so to speak. Darien actually is always the standard bearer in the FCAC, and they're the team until somebody knocks them off. They're the team to beat. They crushed Yorktown the other day, which is impressive, 12-3, and they're going to be strong too. I think Greenwich is going to be in there, even though they lost pretty handily to St. Anthony's the other day. St. Anthony's is another team that's great, and I believe Darien and New Canaan have St. Anthony's on their schedule later this year. So all three teams are going to be lining up against that team. But it's we'll see over the next few weeks. Once they start playing each other, start getting like a New Canaan versus a Greenwich and a Darien versus a Ridgefield, I think we'll get a better grip on who's at the top. But I always go into these things looking at it and saying that Darien's got to be the team to beat until they lose, until somebody knocks them off and takes over that role, because their consistency in being a championship contender is just unparalleled right now. And Jeff Braymeyer is a remarkable coach, and what he's built over there is outstanding. So we'll see how it goes. I think New Canaan has a very good team this year, and it could be those two, and which is always fun when it's the two rivals.
Should be good. Dave, we will talk to you on next week's show. Thank you for your time, and great stuff today.
Yeah, it's going to be a great one tonight. I'm really looking forward to it.
All right.
I'll see you there.
We'll see you over there for that one. Dave Stewart, of course, sports editor, New Canaan Advertiser, the FCAC guru, as we love to call him, and he joined us here on the show. We are going to now chat with the members of the New Canaan boys lacrosse team, and then we'll take a break. We'll come back with more of the program, but don't forget, New Canaan boys lacrosse, they take on Fairfield Prep. Good matchup coming up here at 4:30, but now let us visit with the New Canaan boys lacrosse team. Last time I saw a couple of these guys, I think Michael Collins was in the middle of throwing about 19 touchdowns in a game to them. We're with members of the boys lacrosse team. I'm Rob Adams. That's Dave Stewart. We'll let them introduce themselves. Who are you?
I'm David Strupp. I'm a senior captain at New Canaan High School.
Kyle Smith.
And we're missing one of the captains, Dave, we should mention.
We are missing Peter Swindell today. He's working on a paper, some schoolwork.
Another guy who caught one of those 19 touchdowns in a game. All right. We'll start with Kyle. What do you do before every game?
Before every game, not much, pretty laid back. I do mix blue and orange Gatorade, makes a weird green color before every game. But other than that, I just listen to music, pretty laid back before every game. I don't get very hyped up.
David, for you, what do you do before every game?
Unlike Kyle, I get pretty hyped up. I listen to some pretty loud music. and I'll do 15 minutes of jump rope in the locker room before every game, just to get my feet moving, to get my footwork good, and then I'll do some footwork out on the field as well. So.
Now, Kyle, Peter's not here, but he had an interesting fun fact that he wanted to share. Tell us what it is.
Yeah, Peter wanted to make sure everyone knew that he handled a baby tiger by himself in 5th grade, and he said it was the coolest experience of his life.
Sounds like it would be that up there.
I also remember he's like the only Baltimore Orioles fan I've met in our entire HAN Network FCAC tour. You know, we're having fun talking about other stuff with you guys, but this is going to be a good lacrosse team this year. Why?
I think we have a really strong core this year. I think we have a lot of good returning players like Drew Morris and net, and then I think our defense is going to be really strong with James Cravado and Andrew Bowersfield, 2 guys that are just they're really solid defensemen, both juniors. And then we have guys returning like Swindell, Ryan O'Connell, Kyle Smith, and Jack Holter, I think he's going to have a breakout season this year. And then we have guys like Jackson A. Pellet, Clayton Burt, and I think those we're gonna have a really great attack line there with a lot of experience, and so I think we're gonna have a great team this year with a really solid core.
I looked at your schedule too. The schedule is just incredible. I believe you're going down to Maryland for opening day, and you've got Brunswick on the schedule, St. Anthony's, I believe there. How do you feel about playing all these tough teams? That's in addition to like rival Darien and all that stuff.
Oh, I mean, obviously nothing can top the rivalry with Darien. That's what you look up to as a kid, but. With the experience getting out down to Maryland for our first game, playing at Brunswick, play Fairfield Prep at home, St. Anthony's coming to us this year. I mean, it makes the game so much more fun. So a lot more competition this year than the years past. So that's fun. Everyone loves competition. So
it's like a playoff game every day almost.
You guys play a couple of sports. We see you from time to time. Do you get sick of hearing about Darien?
A little bit. I mean, I don't know. I think we always look forward to those games. We try not to pay too much attention to it until the week comes when we have to play them. I think we get hyped up for it, hearing all the hype about Darien, how they're doing, what kind of team they have, especially when we coming into the week of when we're going to play them. And we just use that as motivation to work even harder and, for us to prove that, we're a better team every year. So.
Well, we've got you guys on the schedule a couple of times this year, so good luck out there, and we'll see you throughout the season.
Thank you.
Happy to be joined by the lacrosse team here at New Canaan High School. We're at the home of the Rams on the HAN Network.
Walter Stewart's Market in New Canaan is your time-saving local shopping destination for the best of spring. Find many of your favorite products, from great specials on everyday items to the freshest organic produce, artisanal cheeses, and grass-fed steaks. Chop off your knives to be sharpened. Grab a beautiful bouquet of spring flowers and stop in next door for a wine tasting. Plus, their personable staff is always ready to lend a helping hand. So stop in to Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street today, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
For over 25 years, Mike Cizik Painting and Wallpapering has been the name to know for residential and commercial properties in Fairfield County. He uses only the top brands, including Benjamin Moore, for impeccable preparation and lasting quality. Call Mike now and receive $500 off any job over $7,000. Mike is currently accepting reservations for spring, so call him today at 203-770-8869 or 203-972-3310. For your custom painting, finishing, and staining needs, it's Mike Cizik.
Are you hoping winter is finally in our rearview mirror? Can't wait for the air and water temperatures to start rising? Well, if the answer is yes, you need to get over to Darien or Westport and stop by the Dock Shop, where it's always summer. Both shops are being stocked with lots of new merchandise, including fishing tackle, marine electronics, boating supplies, and more. But remember, the Dock Shop isn't your average tackle shop. At the Dock Shop, you'll also find the finest selection of nautical apparel, jewelry, home decor, and gifts in New England. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, and 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport. Online at dockshop.com.
You are watching the HAN Network, and you're not alone. Nearly 500,000 viewers enjoyed our broadcasts in the first 5 months. Advertise on the network that reaches Fairfield County, Connecticut's most engaged audience. Contact Jessica Murrin, Advertising Director, at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
Welcome back to Nutmeg Sports for a Wednesday here on the HAN Network. I'm Rob Adams, flying solo for the remainder of the show and really just for the remaining couple of seconds that we're with you here. We are going to chat with a couple of tennis teams, in fact, as we look forward to girls tennis, weather permitting tomorrow. But I have to admit, as I stand here talking to you on Wednesday, I just don't see it happening. The weather is not going to be good tomorrow. And to be frank with you, it's not going to be great on Friday, which would be the makeup either. So we intend to broadcast it. We just don't know when, so we'll keep that in mind. But it will be Darien and Fairfield Ludlow in girls tennis, and that's expected to be a good matchup. Two of the teams that have very high hopes throughout this season. And of course, as the FCAC Tour moved along, we chatted with virtually every team around the conference at all 17 schools. And those teams we didn't get, we're going to have you here on Nutmeg Sports still working some of those details out. But nonetheless, as we wrap up my portion of the show and I hand it off to our final couple of interviews, we say to you that we will have these interviews with Darien girls tennis and Fairfield Ludlow girls tennis. Some boys involved there as well, not to be forgotten. So we will do that, and we will see you Monday for another Nutmeg Sports, as well as coffee break tomorrow, as usual. Don't forget CT Pulse. That was already today, but don't forget about that. Yankee Fisherman, you get the idea. All the great programming we do here at the HAN Network. Lacrosse at 4:30. Interviews now. Lots going on. So many moving parts. For Dave Stewart, Eric Gendron directing, and for the rest of the crew, I'm Rob Adams. I'm going to go find my brain now. Here's some tennis interviews. Let's talk with the captains from tennis here at Darien High School. I'm Rob Adams on the HAN Network. Girls and boys tennis, combine them into one. We'll meet the captains right now. Who are you?
I'm Anna Barsanti.
And I'm Harrison Walter.
All right, Anna, I will start with you. First of all, congratulations on Villanova.
Thank you very much.
And I'm sure it's a happy time to be a Villanova University, not only potential student, but certainly a fan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Final Four game, the Elite Eight game was crazy. That was amazing.
It really was. Now, tell me about your favorite memory in tennis.
Probably last year, state finals when we beat Staples High School. You know, we went to the finals my sophomore year, and then last year we were an underdog coming in. We beat Ludlow in the semis, and then we beat Staples in the finals, and that was probably the highlight of my season.
Very good. Over to Harrison now. How about some favorite memories of yours?
Well, last year I was a quarterfinalist in states with my partner Sammy Optikin, who's now at Notre Dame, I believe. And that same day, even though we lost, we got to watch our freshman Bobby Nooner advanced to the follow-up in states, and he did great, and now he's a sophomore. Looking forward to see what he can do this year, too.
What's this warm-up ritual that you have? Tell us about that.
Well, before every match, we tend to play a game of touch. It's basically four square. It's a small doubles game where we just play in the service boxes. Loosens us up before the matches, and it's always fun.
Do you prefer doubles or singles? Is there a preference there either way?
Well, I started with doubles in freshman year, moved to singles in my sophomore year, and now I've kind of moved back towards doubles. So last year I played doubles, and I'm thinking doubles this year again.
Do you have a preference, doubles or singles?
Probably doubles. I've played doubles all 3 years I've been on the team, so I'm thinking doubles this year again.
What got you into tennis?
I think as a little kid, I went to the Italian Center over in Stanford, and I always saw people playing, and I always wanted to do it. So then I started doing like summer programs, and then I really got into it when I was like 10 or 11. Then I started playing year-round.
Is there a particular pro that you look at and say, this is who I admire, and can you learn anything from those pros?
Sure. Well, my favorite pro, just local pro, Aldrin, down at Chelsea Piers. He's great. I've had him for 6 years or so. I always look up to him. He's a really strong player and just gives me motivation to play myself.
How about a favorite pro from you?
Mine probably Mark Lupinacci over at Solaris. I've played with him since I was 6 years old, and he's been my coach ever since, so I really admire him.
All right, great, and best of luck to both of you. I know the FCAC has a lot of good tennis out there, so best of luck. Have a great season.
Definitely, thank you.
We thank them both for joining us here, talking tennis right here on the HAN Network. We're at Fairfield Ludlow High School, the home of the Falcons on the HAN Network. I'm Rob Adams with Bill Bloxham. The FCAC Tour rolls on. Now we are inside the HAN Cruiser today because it's a little cold and rainy outside. Not the best day for girls tennis. However, the girls tennis team does join us, and we will let the ladies introduce themselves. What's your name?
Maddie Leverty.
Gabrielle Goulian.
Maddie, tell me a favorite memory.
A favorite memory? Well, winning FCACs last year was a good one. I mean, we wish we could have won states, but we're looking forward to playing Darien this week.
Nothing wrong with saying you're an FCAC champion. Over to Bill.
Yeah, being in such a conference as the FCAC where you know every match is so tough, is that keep the competitive juices going in the off season?
Yeah, definitely. In the off season, a lot of girls go to the same tennis clinics, and so you're playing with a lot of your competitors throughout the FCAC season.
Do you have a veteran group back? Is it kind of a mix, or do you have a real strong nucleus?
We have a pretty new team back. We lost about 10 seniors last year.
Wow.
So it's me, Maddie, and another girl, Alyssa, and the rest are all new. So we'll see.
And we will see them on the HAN Network when they do play Darien this week. So that is pretty exciting. What's your playing style? Do you like to stay back, go to the net? What do you like to play?
Net. Well, there's no better way.
How about for you?
Yeah, I'm mostly a doubles player, so probably the net helps. Yeah.
There you go.
There you go, right there. What kind of group is this? What do you do for fun?
What do we do for fun? Well, last week we went bowling, but I don't know. We're all very got our own little things, but we're bonding together because we're a new team. So it's hard, but I don't know. We like each other. It's good.
How do you bring the younger kids along and make them feel like part of the group?
We do this thing called Sisters, so everyone's paired with someone, so it's kind of you get close to that girl throughout the season. We're probably going to do a team workout, a soul cycle or something, just to get everyone together.
Very good.
All right, have a great season. Good luck, and we'll see you this week when you're out on the courts.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice to see these ladies. We will indeed have girls tennis on the HAN Network. It'll be right here at Fairfield Ludlow High School on the HAN Network.